At the very start, we were told that Mount Elizabeth is undergoing renovation and there will be some objects that will be thrown away.
So that we could redesign it and repurpose it.
10 objects rich in historical significance and practical use were selected for the project. The goal was to explore the physical material and to transform these objects into something completely new.
When we visited the hospital, we realized that these handrails along the corridors aren't really appreciated enough. They are sort of like silent allies in helping a patient to recover. The handrails mainly consist of two objects. First is the PVC outer covering, and then we have the aluminium extrusion profiles. They have a very unique cross-section, which we thought maybe you could utilize the different ridges to create custom joints. Our end product is rails, a furniture pair, which consists of the sideboard and coffee table. These two objects essentially support other smaller objects. We wanted to carry forward the concept of having handrails being supportive to a patient's recovery to pay homage to the original material.
The handrail project was really unique because you could not tell that it was made of hospital handrails. It's only when you discover how it was made and how the material was very cleverly used that you're able to appreciate the connection between the former object and the new archetype that is being created.
So our initial stages of exploring the narrative of the object was to really dissect the different components of the chair, from the armrest to the leather upholstery. Because when we stripped and deconstructed the chair and we saw it in its bare frame, I think we were quite shocked that it looked very reminiscent of everyday chair we will see in everyday space.
From our research, we read about Siti, who's a phlebotomist at Mount Elizabeth Hospital. She has this mission to ease the fear of patients through her one-prick method. It's to ensure that the patients do not have to go through multiple rounds of getting their arm pricked during the blood-taking procedure.
The stories from the nurses, from the hospital staff, help them contextualize these objects, but at the same time also it helped them think of the objects at the emotional context, out of the context of healthcare, and it challenged them to see these objects as stories instead of hardcore hospital products.
We wanted the entire chair to evoke a sense of embracing, a sense of warmth and a sense of care.
Like the act of weaving is very precise. Yeah, so we wanted to kind of hint and nod to that.
And that is precisely what Siti does in her role as a phlebotomist, to bring that compassion and care to her patients, but also being professional and precise in her practice.
Previously, there was a renovation work that happened in 2005, and during these renovation works, they actually covered over the original tiles with white cladding. Very recently, they had another round of renovation, and when they actually took down the cladding, they were quite surprised because they didn't even know that these tiles were there behind the white cladding.
We did the bleaching because we thought maybe we could eventually remove the spots on the tiles. However, when we tried, it didn't really work.
Even at one stage, we made the tiles into a river-like formation for water to flow down and almost made it into a water fountain. It gave us the inspiration that something else could run down the tiles. And the funny thing is that during the hammering process, we kind of discovered that music came out of the tiles whenever we strike the tiles.
We went back to research on what are the notes that can be found.
And that's how facade came about. With each strike of the marble, it will make a musical melody out of the tiles.
It's really important for designers to explore new areas. When designers do that, we come in with fresh eyes. So we are able to see, in this case, music in a very, very different way. And no one would have imagined that tiles could produce notes of music if not for the students' explorations.
These are the parts from the original pendulum lamp. And so this is where the bulb was. And we were very inspired by how this forms a very interesting shape of an eye, and how we would think that the ICU system oversees the patient and also provides light to the nurses.
Instead of working with the materials per se, the group of students grinded the materials down and made their own materials so that they could form a new lampshade in a domestic context.
Once we layer a thick layer of plastic powder, we place it into the oven. And once we remove it, we will achieve a smooth surface that is in contact with the aluminium sheet, as well as a very beautiful textured surface on top that allows light to be able to shine through and create a very interesting effect. We want to make sure that this brings a very warm environment to a living space.
Through this project, for me, one thing that is really important is to see the idea that when we look at objects having a second life, it's not just about imbuing it with a new practical purpose. But at the same time, we can think of objects as vessels that carry stories. And these stories are also stories that we can work with and also generate new and interesting results.